Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for actually, sorry? Well, Michael, yeah, for actually pronouncing my name correctly. That's not happening very often in an international meeting like this. Thank you. Well, my name is Michiel Reneman from the Netherlands. I work as a professor in rehabilitation medicine, specializing in pain rehab and vocational rehab, and my address here will be on that subject. I'm also part guilty of this meeting because I'm the secretary of Working Group 4. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just skipping this one because we all know this. Lots of pain, and the main driver of economic impact is work. So because of loss of productivity, because of absenteeism, because of early retirement, the economic burden of pain is huge. And I'm not talking about the personal burden here, but the economic burden. And this is particularly great in people who have been off work for a longer time, which is more than half a year. Now, what we see in healthcare is typically this group. These people that are not being able to work anymore, they go see a doctor and go see us in rehabilitation. However, we shouldn't forget that this is not the real world. This is just a part of the real world. Most of the people that are currently having chronic pain are somehow able to cope and to continue their workday. So we have been looking at this group as a sort of a new perspective for us, rehabilitation perspectives, and for us researchers, because most of the research that has been published has been on this group and not on this group. And actually, this is what we want. Oh well. So one of the new things that we found out in one of our research projects was that it is indeed possible to continue to work with chronic pain. Of course, we know that, but it is at a slight cost. This is what we call a workability score, which is a score from 0 to 10. 10 means you're perfectly able to work. 0 means you're not at all able to work. And healthy controls, people without a health condition, on average score something like an 8. So that perfect 10 is never up there. And people with chronic pain who are currently in the workforce are doing that with a slight loss of workability. People who present at work rehab have a huge loss of workability. And of course, it's our duty to help them to go from there to there, or maybe even to there. Why do we do this? Well, for one good reason. Well, the best reason, of course, is that patients who present at rehabilitation centers really present at us because their main question is, help me get back to work. And for a good reason. And one of the reasons is that work is very good for health and well-being. It actually has a therapeutic effect. So this really strengthens us as healthcare practitioners to help people go back to work. Because on average, if you help them back to good work, that means they will be in better health and better well-being. So this is a great study that has been done in the UK, and we use it a lot to support people to go back to work because it makes you feel better and it makes you healthier. Oh, excuse me. Can you help me with the next slide, perhaps? Okay, so that's probably fixed. So yes, it can be done, and yes, it should be done to help people go back to work, and rehab is one of them. And how should this be? Well, there's a comprehensive program. Of course, rehab could be one of them. There's public education. We need system changes, and we need some really good solutions for our aging workforce. And I will briefly touch each one of these in the next slide. Oh, one disclosure that I forgot in the beginning is that I'm also a member of the Fitful Work Coalition, which is actually a coalition that has one main focus, and that is to keep people with chronic conditions, including pain, at work. Okay, what's vocational rehab? Well, of course, we have done a great job in making a very difficult definition that is ICF proof, and that's why it's such a terrible definition. So if you're sleepy tonight, please go ahead and try to read and understand this. But vocational rehabilitation can be summarized in whatever works to get people back to work and stay at work. And what we do, we have pretty good research to demonstrate that it's effective and cost-effective. Effective, these programs will lead to better work participation, will lead to less disability, and even, although a little bit, less pain. This is not a cost-neutral intervention. This is actually a cost-saving intervention for society as a whole. Whichever currency you use, for example, euros, €1 in, society gets a return of €5. So this is a very cost-effective intervention. And of course, the main benefit of this is better work participation, and that pays back for society. Obviously, if a healthcare insurer pays for such an intervention and someone else, like society as a whole, gets the return, there still is an issue there that needs to be fixed. But from a societal perspective, this is a very cost-effective intervention. So for the EU members of Parliament, whoever you want, if you want a cost saving, please, there's one for you. However, what we do see both in research but also in practice, that there's silos. And there's this high health silo and this employment silo. And they, of course, for vocational rehabilitation, they really need to cooperate. And systems are very tough here, that they cannot cooperate very well. So if you can fix that, that'd be great too. I am, of course, a little bit positive about these research. However, I should also disclose that the effect sizes on average are moderate, which means there's lots of room for even more effectiveness. And we should work on this via research programs, I believe. And maybe we can use this SIP platform with the lady that was here this morning to develop some research programs to further work this and work on its effectiveness and its effect sizes. Okay. So what's the content? What are the working principles of vocational rehabilitation? Well, lots of it is not known yet, but I can give you 4 of them. We need to work from a biopsychosocial perspective, both in the assessment or the diagnosis phase and the treatment phase. And from the social, of course, the work and the work environment is one of the main social parameters that we need to look at. One other working principle is a gradual increase of activities and work. So it's not just rehab and then go back to work, but it's rehab, and during rehab, increase your work participation via work or modified work programs, and gradually build it up to the desired level. It's what I call modified work. It can be all types of modifications, but it can be summarized with modified. We need a shared goal and a shared plan, and not just the patient and us, but also the workplace. So we need to reach out to the employer and make him or her part of that plan. So we need one plan, and usually we need a return to work coordinator to help us to build that one plan and execute it. So if there's 2 plans, the patient and the healthcare workers will get back to work, and the employer says, nah, I don't think so. This won't work, of course. So this is a very important return to work coordinator. And there is some optimal timing that we think would be somewhere between 2 or 4 months of duty. Okay, so far for work rehab. Let's go to public education, number 2 on the list. Basic assumption is that beliefs guide behaviors. And we also know that beliefs in the general public are related to pain as a pathology that needs rest to heal, And actually that is not an evidence-based belief. On a matter of fact, we should have turned that around. And changing these beliefs have been the focus of public campaigns in some countries in Europe, but also in Australia, in Canada, etc. And the main message that was gotten across is stay active, be active, whatever, and go back to work as soon as you can. And this is some examples of, this is a bus actually in Canada. Wouldn't it be great to have buses in Brussels? Well, they don't run in Brussels, but in Europe to have buses with our pain message. Wouldn't that be great? I have some examples from a video from an advertisement actually that was run in Montana, USA. And that was the Work Heals campaign, which was a campaign that was run by a workers' compensation that drove the message across that work can actually be therapeutic. Can we start that?
A Montana State Fund Return to Work program. It's good medicine for your entire company. Learn more at safemt.com.
There's many reasons, actually there's 5 listed in research, why people want to work. And one of them is the social environment, contact with colleagues. I know you and we tend to dislike our colleagues. Well, maybe not you, but what I hear from many of my patients is that they would definitely prefer to dislike colleagues than not have colleagues at all. And this one actually the one that you just saw, digs into that social environment to be part of a group. And the next one is another ad from that same campaign, which digs into a different perspective, like a feeling of belonging and a major life value. So maybe we can, let me see, the next one. There you go, and if you can, same guitar.
Last year, Montana State Fund helped dozens of Montana companies implement return-to-work programs.
You all right?
I never thought the alarm would sound that good.
Because getting back to work heals. Learn more at safemt.com.
So those were 2 examples of a very successful campaign, in this case, in Montana. Okay, so what I'm calling for is a huge campaign in Europe where we drive the impact of work and pain and get that message across, because we will know, I mean, what I'm preaching for here is, of course, preaching for my own people, and you will understand me, but the employers in this world and my fellow healthcare workers, they need to get this across as well. Okay, what's the challenges? Vocational rehabilitation, although it is proven successful, it's not available for all EU citizens. Modified work, very good working principle, not available for all of our fellow EU citizens. There's silos or bridges or walls between the healthcare system and the social security or employment system, or whatever you want to call these systems. And they hinder patients, they hinder us to go back to work, and that shouldn't be the case. Beliefs about pain, typically in the larger public, not evidence-based. And of course, this aging workforce that we had just some great numbers on. Aging as I know, and most of you will know, comes with physical decline and increase of chronic diseases. And we will face huge challenges, even larger than we have today, to keep people at work, to keep the working force large enough to support us all. And this is a challenge that can be solved in different ways. And one of the ways that we are looking at currently is to use and develop new technology to support people to stay at work until they're, whatever, 100 or so. What's the outlook? So this is something that I would like to look at for the near future. Okay, my summary slide. Vocational rehabilitation is a proven effective and cost-efficient intervention. It works. Vocational rehabilitation, modified work, and the silos. People who are here from the parliaments, please fix it for us. We need public education to change non-evidence-based beliefs. And we need new technology to assist healthy aging at work. And my final message is this: prevention of work disability, it can be done and it should be done. Thank you very much.